Hi from me, Jared Epstein, and welcome to another episode of Simcha, a celebration of life. In today's episode, we meet Adrian Jacobson, newly appointed chairperson at the Cape SA Jewish Board of Deputies, and we learn essential skills in making kugel, a Jewish noodle-based dish, with Jill Sachs. But first up, the Kaplan Center, based at the University of Cape Town, is a hub for research on Jewish life in South Africa. Director Adam Mendelson tells us how it started and why it exists.
I am the fourth director of the Kaplan Center, founded in 1979, and now, since 1989, has been in a building of its own on the University of Cape Town campus. When I took over, and now in 2015, I took over a center that had a long history already of involvement in a whole variety of projects. And from its inception, so from 1979, it was doing something which was unique in South Africa. There really is no other Jewish studies center at any South African university. And the objective in creating it was to create a hub, a center for research into South African Jews, both past, present, and future. And we've always had that in mind. So projects which look at the origins and experience of Jews in South Africa historically. So going back a variety of projects relating to Jewish immigrants to South Africa, and particularly to the Lithuanian origins of so many immigrants. Projects which are more focused on the present have included projects looking at the demography of the community. So roughly every decade, and sometimes more often, we've conducted big national surveys of the South African Jewish population, trying to understand what are the trends within the community in terms of composition and geography, where are Jews living, and then also attitudes. So what do Jews feel about politics of South Africa, how connected they feel to South Africa, so around identity and behavior and religion, all sorts of things of that kind. And likewise then those same projects have helped with thinking about the future of the community as well, so trying to understand what are the trends and how they're likely to play out. And in some cases our researchers use them to inform forward-thinking planning by the community as well.
The Jewish Living Archive is the banner we have given to two components of the archive. Basically, the Kaplan Center for Jewish Studies and the South African Jewish Museum are sister institutions. So here at the Kaplan Center, the physical archive, the approximately 200 collections that we keep here, do form part of UCT's broader collections as well. They were just donated through the Kaplan Center starting in about the 80s. The other component is SAJM Archives, which used to be the Jewish Digital Archive Project. That started as a documentary sort of project that Rami Kaplan was very interested in. A lot of our film is from that time. That's a digital archive, and it's an online platform, and largely family collections. And a living archive is a term that's used a lot actually in archival theory and in history. It's basically just you're constantly adding to it, searching for, getting in touch with people who want to donate, and people want to donate a lot.
So we have a variety of projects underway at the moment. We have a project which will be launching very, very soon, or at least the output will be launched very soon, is a study which we undertook in collaboration with the media office of the Konrad Adenauer Foundation. The office is based in Johannesburg, in collaboration with them and with the Johannesburg Holocaust and Genocide Center. And it's a project trying to understand the dynamics of social media in South Africa, which is unfortunately hate speech on these social media platforms. So we're looking at three forms of hate speech: racism, xenophobia, and we're looking at anti-Semitism as well. And so this is a project we've worked on for a few years with a whole team of researchers, and we now have a report which we finished, which describes these dynamics which we have identified. And that project actually will continue, and does continue, where what we're trying to do as well to automate the detection of hate speech on social media in South Africa. And this will again allow for both much easier detection but also potential interventions as well.
The latest additions to the archive have been scanners. We've got a beautiful high-resolution archival quality flatbed scanner, and then we've got a really nice text scanner, which is a cradle scanner, and it quickly scans text and it makes all the text searchable. That's super useful because a lot of what we want to get into is digitizing old newspapers and periodicals. A lot of old Yiddish periodicals and newspapers that are aging quite badly. We want to start scanning projects with those, and so yeah, those are our latest additions, which we are currently testing on smaller projects and basically get as much online as possible for ease of access.
The thing which I most want South Africa to know about the Kaplan Centre is about the wealth of archival and scholarly material that we have and want to make accessible to everyone. We have wonderful material relating to the present-day South African Jewish community, so the reports on all of the surveys and projects that we've done are easily accessible. Then, beyond that, in our archive and in our library as well, is this tremendous wealth of archival material, photographs, films, audio, personal papers, correspondence, organizational records, which are available to those who are genealogists who want to identify family members, want to understand family networks. Wonderful material which really reflects different moments of South Africa's history. So it's really, we collect material, we save material, we preserve material, so it is available to people, but we want people to access it.
Cape Town-based Adrienne Jacobson is the newly appointed chairperson of the Cape SA Jewish Board of Deputies. Today, she talks to us about her role, what her experience has been like so far, and the importance of community involvement.
I had a very Jewish upbringing. I was born in England, and I think that my birth reminded my parents how much they missed South Africa. So they hopped on the first ship back to South Africa, which was the Windsor Castle, just in time for me to start nursery school. And I went to Anav, which I think has closed down now. It was the back of the Wynberg Shul. And then I was the very first sub-A intake in the brand new Herzliya Constantia. Growing up, I was very involved in the youth movements, youth leadership. I was a madricha, or a leader at Habonim, and we had, from our 3-week camps, we spent amazing times together, and also very involved in everything that went down at Herzliya. I think growing up, my family has always been involved in the community. My father used to be on UHS. My parents, as young parents in a new Jewish day school, used to go on a Sunday morning to plant grass at Herzliya Constantia so that we could have a field. My family, my grandfather was on shul committees, my father was on committees. My whole family had been very involved in the community. But funnily enough, I think as a young adult leaving the Herzliya bubble, all you want to do is jaw. And I really kind of wasn't interested. And I think I've been such a privileged generation because of the giants of leadership that have come before me, from Elliot Osran and my whole dad's generation, that I never really had to think about what made the community. It always just happened at the background in my home. So I think really as an adult, I was a Maccabi parent, and I went to Israel to watch the Maccabi games. And I remember very clearly, while I was on my way to Jerusalem for the opening ceremony, I got a phone call saying, please, would I step up into leadership and would I stand for the board? And like my first reaction was no. I was actually quite involved in YPO at that stage. We were the chairs of YPO, which is a global business leadership movement. And I had my hands full. And I stood in that stadium in Jerusalem, and I watched as literally tens of thousands, and I actually get quite emotional thinking about it, but tens of thousands of Jews from all over the globe marched into that stadium. The spirit was incredible. Obviously, being from Hertzler, you knew half of them who'd immigrated. So you would be waving to that friend and seeing that friend walking down, and it was just something in me, in my soul, in my neshama, just lit up. It was just, the atmosphere was electric, and we were just part of a global, literally like a global family. But I think the turning point was realizing it was also after Elliot Osren had passed away. And it was like one of the last of my dad's generation and friends, and I realized that the time is now for me and my generation to step up. And we need to advocate, we need to ensure the continuity of our community, and we need to step up into leadership platforms. So it's not just me, but my generation. Being able to navigate the chaos that is life speaks very strongly to a leadership ethic that I think is very important, which is flexibility. One needs to be flexible to adapt with your environment, to identify issues in the environment that are threats or opportunities or challenges, so that we can, as a team, we can marshal our resources in order to face those challenges. What are the ways that people can get involved with the board? We really would love to see our community involved in board activities. And very specifically in this term of leadership, we've identified that an incredible way to kind of even wet your feet without a full standing for leadership pressured commitment is to get involved in our subcommittees. We have our advocacy or associate relations subcommittee, and there are so many opportunities to get involved there. That is really around building relationships with local government, building relationships with NGOs, with stakeholders in communities, with consulates, across a leadership platform, across a media platform, and that is kind of political connections, political lobbying. So if you're a person who's interested and you're an active citizen, and if you're however old you are, we invite you to come and be involved in our subcommittee. Come and join a subcommittee. Other subcommittees, interfaith and intercommunity. And that is really engaging with so many different faiths. So during Sukkot, we held a Sukkot Shalom, where we invited people of different faiths and different communities into our Sukkah, just simply to network, to share hopes, to share dreams, to connect, to share stories, to look at which projects we can collaborate on, to break bread, to sit together and to gather people from a diverse spectrum of our community together. And that's incredible. That just showcases some of the work that the Interfaith Subcommittee does. Wherever you are on the spectrum of Jewish youth, we would love to engage with you. So we have two very exciting projects that we're busy with at the moment. The first is our Semigration project, or our Move Down to Cape Town project, where if people are thinking of immigrating, we're encouraging them to come to Cape Town, because we have such a beautiful quality of life here and such a wonderful community. Not to pull anybody from any of their plans, but just to offer the Cape as a really good alternative. So we have teamed together with the schools and the shuls. We have the local government, we have the mayor involved, we have UCT involved, and if we can somehow help people who are thinking of living in Cape Town and embrace them into our community, then we think it's a fantastic opportunity for them. And the second project is our Entrepreneurs Network, to engage young entrepreneurs from different spectrums, some disadvantaged, some starting out, across a myriad of experiences in startups. And we are mentoring, we have groups, we have competitions, and we're really thinking that this initiative is going to be a long-term one. So our current intake, we are mentoring and we are helping these entrepreneurs through forming a network of support, facilitation by the board, and putting them in mentorship programs. We are hoping to improve the economy and to look at regenerating startups and helping people get a foot up in their business. I'm most looking forward to connecting with people around the board table on a deeper level, and connecting with organizations on a deeper level. I'm looking forward to joint projects with some of our affiliate organizations. For example, we had an event on Women's Day with the Holocaust and Genocide Center, and it was such a unique opportunity to focus on our common mandate, which is human rights. So I'm looking forward, in the past, we've always worked closely with our affiliate organizations, but I think I would like to take that work further. I would like to collaborate further and deeper. I would like to be a resource to our internal community, if there are organizations that need help. I think my background, being psychology and organizational psychology, is around connecting, and it's around having spaces to connect, to grapple with issues, to dialogue, to engage. So I think I'm most looking forward to that. I'm an extrovert, so I'm looking forward to connecting with people across a diverse spectrum. I'm looking forward to engaging with different viewpoints, different perspectives, and I'd like to really focus on how we can grow our community post-COVID, how we can become a thriving, united, special Jewish community where our Jewish values can grow, where we can connect to our Judaism in all our different experiences of it and deepen that relationship.
Have you ever heard of kugel? It's the Yiddish word for casserole, and it's a beloved noodle-based dish. Jill Sachs shows me how to roll up my sleeves, put on an apron, and cook. Let's go. Right, so as I said, apron is on, sleeves are rolled up, we have a Jill, and now we need a kugel. So, before we start, Jill, did you know that kugel, the kugel is casserole in Yiddish, but if you go even further back, Middle High German, that Yiddish word actually meant globe or sphere. Now you do. Interesting fact, and so do you.
So shall we get started?
Let's do it.
Amazing. So what we need is oil, potato starch, onions, salt, pepper, eggs, and potatoes. And we start off we pop the oven on to 180, and we pop the oil inside the oven so the oil heats up. This helps your kugel to be crispier.
Lovely.
So I'm going to give you onions to chop. How are you with onions?
I might try it, but it's okay.
There's all sorts of different theories around how the best kugel is. Some people chop the onions very finely, others grate it. And how we're going to do it is we're actually going to blitz it in the blender, so it almost becomes like an onion puree.
Cool. While I'm doing this, obviously we've just spoken about the kugel, the word meaning round. So back in the day, kugel was actually round, but nowadays obviously it's square and we use square dishes, so that's why round and now square.
Today we're doing a round kugel.
Yes! Love that!
I found a round pan and I thought that's like...
How traditional.
And I also read that kugel is, people call it the lazy latke. So I thought latkes are round.
Let's make a round kugel.
Yeah.
Love that.
You know what, we can cut those in half.
Cool.
And then you can pop them straight into flour.
You know how you've heard some people refer to a Jewish woman as a kugel?
Yes.
Interestingly, it goes a little bit far back where the older generation would refer to a younger Jewish woman as a kugel if they wore clothing that wasn't modest. And the whole parallel between the outside of the kugel looks beautiful and nice, but as soon as you actually get underneath that, it's just a normal potato dish, just like the Jewish woman is just a normal woman. But don't worry, it's not actually a derogatory term. It used to have a derogatory angle to it, but now people are taking it in quite a light-hearted way, so it's almost a compliment to be called a kugel.
It's beautiful. So you can get grating these potatoes.
That's great.
There we go.
Long ways?
Yeah, the long way is quite nice because then you get nice strands.
Yeah. Cool.
So that's done. And I'm going to blitz the onions so long.
Perfect.
And that's it. So some people grate their onions. I'm quite lazy and also to save on shears. I blitz it so that it looks like a smooth onion puree. We add the onion mixture to the
Potatoes.
Potatoes.
I love potatoes.
And I'm going to add some salt and some pepper to this mixture. A generous pinch of salt. And I love molten salt. Kosher salt works well too. But it's really nice to use a coarse salt. Okay, then we're going to add the pepper. Also again, like probably about a teaspoon, just being generous with it. And then potato starch. So a third of a cup of potato starch. Oops. Oops. So the measuring cup always doesn't work. So I'm just going to estimate that and put in a little extra potato starch of what didn't fall in. Amazing. So now what you're going to do, Jared,
talk to me,
because you're making this kugel, is you're going to mix in all these things together. Cool. So you really want to coat everything in that potato starch that we put in there. So I'm going to hand that to you.
Thank you.
And you will gently mix and kind of mixing and mushing it in. Gotcha. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Beautiful.
Now, once all the little potato strands are coated in salt and pepper and potato starch, we're going to add our eggs. Excellent.
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 Excellent. Love that.
Brilliant.
And am I going again?
You're going with your hands again. Yes. Right, so we're ready to go. I'm
Awesome.
going to grab that hot oil out the oven and we can pop it in.
Lovely. Interestingly, I read that some Hasidic Jews believe that if you eat kugel on Shabbat, you'll get a special spiritual blessing. Do you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Now you do.
And now that is beautiful, Jared. So we're going to drop it in here. Just be careful because you've got hot oil. You don't want it splashing. So you're going to go quite low.
Okay.
So taking it and going quite low in that initial, yeah, gorgeous. And then just scooping it all in. I'm going to pop this in the oven.
Let's go.
There we go. Will you open it up for me?
Yeah, sure.
So that'll be on 180 for 70 to 80 minutes. And here it is. Yum.
Let's give it a try. I've got a little
Excellent.
spoon in here. Whoa. Really is good.
A good kugel. We love a good kugel.
Can highly recommend. That was really, really good. So I'm going to take this one home. You said you're making another one.
Fantastic. It's all yours.
Thank you. That brings us to the end of this week's episode of Simcha, a celebration of life. As always, we'd love to hear from you, so please send us a Facebook message at Spirit Sister Productions. From me, Jared Epstein, and the Simcha team, did you know that according to some scholars, the kugel of today can be tracked back to a dish eaten during the Talmudic times known as pashtida, which featured 2 layers, top and bottom, of dough with a filling.